Wonderful stuff. Pond live in session with Solo 2. More numbers to come. And I'm wondering with that particular tune whether how it got going, whether Jay had this riff, thought, this thing, maybe you like it, maybe you weren't, I don't know. but that was something, you were saving up for something special, that particular riff.
I feel like the first thing you said was, it was more like, I didn't know if it was good or not. I thought it was kind of funny. But it was, definitely didn't save it. It was just like, it came very quick, it went quickly in my head from being like a cheesy funk thing to something kind of like angular and like dissonant. And I was like, oh, that's, it might actually be cool and not dorky.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, can pay no higher compliment really, but we played it back to back with Prince and it held its own.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, thank you.
Just fantastic.
That's, yeah, that's wild, but thank you.
Almost unbelievable.
The whole, but it reflects the whole LP as well, which is bursting with ideas. And I know it's LP number 10, who's counting, but it finds you on extraordinarily good form. Do you put that down to anything in particular this time around?
No, I don't know. Maybe we're just getting used to each other, sort of giving each other the shits less or something. But I don't know. We're having fun.
Yeah, it was a really fun one to make. Sometimes they're just inherently darker because like the vibe is worse. Not necessarily between us, but just in our personal lives or whatever, or the band or. And so I think this one, like the reason there's so many songs and it's also sprawling and different stuff is because we were having too much fun to not include it all,
And it works as a whole as well. It works as an LP, absolutely.
I mean, the thing is, so as I understand it, the bulk of it was recorded in your studio, Jay.
Yeah, maybe 60%.
Right, and then you went to a place called Dunsborough, is that right?
Yeah, it's like a surfing town south of...
You see, now that sounds flawed to me. And I'll tell you for why. Only because I remember I used to be a record plugger and I worked for Happy Mondays, and I remember they sent Happy Mondays to the Caribbean.
This is an extreme example here.
With some extreme personnel involved.
Absolutely, with two of Talking Heads to produce them. And of course, it was carnage. Now, if I was to have a band under my control, I would not send them to a surf town to get some serious work done, but it evidently did, because as you say, I can do the math. You 60% at your studio and 40% in Dunsborough then.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was just it was more just to be all together. Like music for a lot of people now, I guess it's made so in such a piecemeal way, just slowly adding and taking stuff away on the software that we wanted to just do a bunch of it, at least try a bunch of it, basically like this, the room we're in now.
Right.
And even if it wasn't live, just where you wake up and at 10 a.m. you go in and do stuff together rather than, I don't know, just be all around each other. We did it once years ago like that, and that's kind of one of our other sort of really, I guess, fun and vibrant sounding albums, so...
Just tell us about one number in the middle of the record, which you're not playing tonight, but I'm sure it must be part of your the shows that you're doing, which is Edge of the World Part 3, which sits in the middle of the record. And I think it sort of harks back, it sort of nods back to previous tunes and everything like that, but how did that one particularly come together?
I think Jay just sort of, put together this large, epic piece of music, and... we, in our stupid way, decided that it, I don't know, it had to be the end of the trilogy of this thing. I don't know. We're sort of taking the piss.
It's the only band that could do, only band that I'm involved in or project thing that could do something like that. If you make something like that up, without it being too, because the band started as it wasn't like a joke band, but it was, we liked the Mighty Boosh and Ween and all this sort of stuff.
Right, really.
And so now, so it's still a little bit in there, even though we take it a lot more seriously. But when we do write things like that, that are real epic or over the top or whatever, it's we feel like we can do it with this thing, which is a great thing.
It's interesting, because saying that, the album is an hour long, isn't it?
Close to. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's breaking all the rules. Have you crammed an hour's worth almost of material onto vinyl, or is it too?
No, they don't let you now. Lots of old records, there's a Todd Rundgren album, A Wizard, a True Star,
Yeah.
and that's really long, and it's on one vinyl, and it makes it sound really thick. You can't put as much bass on or something. It makes it really thin
It
and
skips.
compressed.
Yeah.
But it sounds cool. But they don't. I think pressing plants and people don't like you doing that now. Because of the quality, or they suggest highly not to. So now it's over 4. But yeah, it would be cool to hear the really compressed, bassless Todd Rundgren version of it.
I'm sure he's delighted to hear that now.
sorry. I mean, it's one of my favourite things ever. But yeah,
You were saying about not taking it too seriously. I did read that you had they called it a scattergun effect of when your early material, you didn't really take that much time over it. You kind of like just didn't take it too seriously. At what point did you think, actually, we're a bloody great band and we need to just start pulling our finger out? What triggered that for you?
I don't know. I think at the beginning, like, we were more into being silly and kind of being prolific for purely the sake of being prolific without any kind of quality control
Right.
at all. And then I reckon we started actually, instead of being into like Hawkwind and Guru and stuff like that, we suddenly started getting into like Fleetwood Mac and Prince,
Right.
And we were like, oh, let's
try that.
Start trying something a bit more.
it also got a bit dark being silly for a while there because like we would play more shows and you'd have bad shows and stuff, and then so if you have a bad show and it's kind of like silly music, it's quite a
like,
dark.
oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
a
nice feeling.
double blow. Yeah.
Whereas if you're making sort of just if you're making earnest things, even if it goes badly technically, you're like, well, I'm still being earnest in my. Do you know what I mean? So I remember that became a real thing where we were like, oh, I don't like the feeling of not being into playing these songs, you know. But,
Well, the first time that I spoke to you, Nick, and you, Jay, you were in London, but you were part of Tame Impala at that point in time.
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago, so... Yeah. Right, okay.
that was my first time out of Australia, London, England.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Did
18.
it meet your expectations?
It was so exciting. We drove from the airport and I saw people having pints on like the medium strip in the road. Like you're not allowed to leave the pub in Australia. And
That was me and him.
It blew my mind. I was like, they let you out the front
They did. Well, weather permitting.
on the
Yeah.
road.
It does happen from time to time. Are you ready to play another couple of numbers for us, please?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, what's going to be the first one?
We're going to play I'm Stung, and then we'll play Neon River.
Great. Thank you.